Hi everyone, Kelt here, bringing you my thoughts on the British royal family, and today I'll be talking about an interesting article from years ago which shows that all the over-the-top stirring up of royal discussions about what Harry and Meghan's baby would look like is in fact meaningless, and Meghan has absolutely no argument or even a leg to stand on in any of this. We remember that she first made her allegations in her Oprah Winfrey interview in March 2021, and remember how Oprah reacted with absolute horror at the mere mention of the royal family discussing what colour Harry and Meghan's child would be. Well, it seems that Catherine really did have it worse, and yet she is the one being blamed for this. It actually happened to her, believe it or not, and she did not complain. It was not even mentioned. And this wasn't just discussing whether the baby would have brown hair or blonde hair. This is talking about the actual colour of the baby's skin. So Catherine went through it a long time before Meghan did. This is it. I've been reminded of an old article whereby CNN were discussing what Catherine and William's baby could look like, even down to referring to darker skin colour due to Catherine marrying William. Can you believe? The article is entitled, "What and Who Will the Royal Baby Look Like?" Leaving aside the bad grammar, the article states that whenever a new baby is on the way, the family cannot help but speculate on what the child would look like. And that's true, I totally agree with that. It says about whether they would have straight hair like dad or curly hair like the mother, tall or short like various aunts or uncles. And then it says that Catherine, who was then the Duchess of Cambridge, was due to give birth on July the 13th of that year, and says that the world will watch as this baby grows up. CNN question whether he or she would have blue eyes like Prince William or green ones like Catherine, or whether it would be dark-haired like the mother or light-headed like William, and even questioned whether Prince Charles's ears would be passed on. I would think that that comment would be enough for the then Prince Charles to complain about, but that never happened. So there were online bets at that time apparently being placed on the child's hair colour, which was Prince George. That has not even been mentioned about Archie. Meghan has not said a word about anything like that, but it appears that Catherine went through it all and more. If anybody had a right to complain about racism, then Catherine would. CNN says that the baby might stand out genetically among the royals because his mother, Catherine, is the first commoner to marry into the royal family since the 17th century. It then refers to the royals being a relatively small gene pool and mentions the haemophilia disorder which ran through the British royal family. A doctor, Anand Sagar from London, states that it's very good that they're bringing in new genes and it freshens up the gene pool. Apparently, even a scientist was discussing Catherine's unborn baby and saying that it was likely to be female. Well, they were wrong on that one. And the same person stated, and I quote, "Catherine's commoner genes might lead to a somewhat darker skinned baby." Think of that. They actually said this. So Meghan has no argument. They said about Catherine, and I repeat this, Catherine's commoner genes might lead to a somewhat darker skinned baby. There you are. He also says, and I quote, "The royals are pretty pale. Catherine's skin has a considerably more olive tone, and the baby will likely be somewhere between the two, but more like Catherine, because her genes are dominant over lighter ones." And here is the punchline from this article, and I quote, "The odds are the child will have darker skin colour than the royals might be used to." There you are. And we're not talking about Meghan now, Meghan's alleged child, we're talking about Catherine's. He also states that the child would be likely to have eyes closer to Catherine's and less like William's, which I guess is true of Prince George. Well, there we have it. Absolute proof that Meghan is not unique with the royals discussing how dark her child might be, because Catherine went through it well before Meghan did. All the back and forth between the media and Omid Scobie, and now we have Meghan appearing to be wandering through a parking lot, as always, a new video of her merching her clothing, another video showing her throwing a child up in the air, all this to show that this is not getting to her, all this toing and froing of the book release and what was in it. But all this stemmed from a comment from two members of the royal family, as we know, and it was said to be Charles and Catherine. So my guess is that they all talked about it, and why not? It's a normal thing to discuss among families about what a child is going to look like, and colouring comes into it. So I think this article is a bit of a mic drop, don't you? A conversation stopper, if you will, and someone needs to point this out to Meghan and her sidekick, Omid Scobie. It's interesting that CNN then talks about Harry being a ginger and there being a 66% chance that William carried a gene for red hair. It talks in depth about the height of William and the height of Catherine and was trying to basically predict within inches how tall the child would be. I'll include a link to this whole article in the description so you can read it for yourself. And I think it's time it was out there to show that Catherine had to endure the talk of colour, specifically the colour of a child. So, let me have your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.